a little bit of a hard one to go after, but I'm going to start with a little of a reflection on one of the reflections that was previously. Phillips Brooks earlier in his reflections to section 2, he mentioned that he was aiding the rural and remote via a pathway program which I'm yet to hear of as a rural and remote student. You touched on moving to a more digital society, which I admit is a great advancement to help the regional and remote, but the key word I noticed you use a lot was future. But what about now? Collectively, your words sound convincing. I'm not sure of your grasp on the topic. I have a new beginner math methods teacher halfway through the year of year 12. I have a physics teacher who doesn't specify in physics. Yes, I can agree that our future youths will be astounding citizens, with many guides and resources online. Yet I graduate in less than 6 months, and I have no idea what to do as uni is out of the cards because I have to stay in Longreach with prior commitments. As Jozette Darth said in her reflections before, listen to the truth or keep repeating the same mistakes of the past. Good afternoon, I'm Jozette Jones from Longreach in Central Queensland, and I'm a 17-year-old Year 12 student at Longreach State High School and the Youth Mayor of Longreach. Today I speak on behalf of the rural youth and the plight we experience growing up with this adversity. Some issues I may name may seem insignificant or pointless to you, but as someone who lives and breathes these problems each and every day, along with many, I believe it's time for someone outside the community to hear us out. We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. The two pivotal topics I'm passionate about in the community I'm confined within as a youth are mental health and career progression. NHMRC is the key driver of health and medical research in Australia. It states 26% of urban areas compared to 24% of rural areas experience or encounter some type of mental health issues in their youth. While studies say that the prevalence of mental health in rural and urban areas difference is not statistically significant, the difference appears in research when we talk about the services available. So although the initial numbers of mental health appear equal, when we delve into the long-term effects of those who become cured, rural areas seem to disperse. Individuals and rural communities hold on to and experience increased mental health as children growing up, which is left untreated and glossed over, whereas data seems to shrink more in urban areas who have services and more prevalent support since birth. It is easily manageable when future issues are faced in early adulthood and adolescence, as the initial problems were dealt with accordingly, preventing the long-term effects. Many overcomplicate the solution. Some youth just need a hand to hold, an ear to listen, or a heart to understand. In late high school, rural schools, as like many, promote uni, TAFE, and outside learning. But unlike urban schools who advertise furthering our education, for communities like Longreach, where I live, it is more of a dire strait, as this means sending our youths away from our community and essentially losing that age bracket. Rural schools equally advocate for staying in town and fathering our town, but that is near impossible without hitting a standstill, as how are we expected to grow and develop ourselves as well as our town with no career progression to do so? We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. Ultimately, solutions I've developed are as follows. To cap the number of struggling teens in the plight of rural areas, we need to allow for constant and consistent help availabilities. The key word here is constant. Having a different nurse at school each week divides the connection between students and assistants, predominantly losing that trust that was never gained. Without the trust, how are students expected to seek help and confined within our resources? Just because we live rurally at a school with only 150 students does not mean we are the guinea pigs to uni students experiencing their 3 years in the outback. We too deserve the same support given to more urban schools of consistent talks, subtle conversations, and easily accessed school resources. Students in high schools need to be walked through how to seek help, not just told where to online, but showed how easy it can be. Actions do speak louder than words. Yes, we are rural, and yes, we are a tough bunch, but everyone has their days. An inexperienced uni student who hasn't grown up in the outback often miss the outback signs of struggle. With a depleting population of youth, it is utmost important we stop the issue where it lies. We are just as important as your next Brisbane private school student. And lastly, tackling the loss of age bracket between students who leave after graduating to further their education. We need a centre or a viable resource to competently access uni or TAFE to one's desire. Pressuring students to leave is forcing them to completely change their lifestyle for years, to where they cannot expect them to return with their gained knowledge when they feel as though their footsteps have been filled. With a hub where you can access online uni or TAFE and support is prevalent, it is significantly encouraged that both mediums, as yes you can further your knowledge and yes you can stay in town. Subsequently, lowering the mental health toll and stress on youth as they're struggling to find a career path at a dead end. Yes, you may have previously heard from youth equipped with knowledge of the outback or have travelled around there or have friends or family that live there, but you do not need to speak on our behalf. You don't understand until you have lived 13 hours from any sort of valued help. The topics I have brought up today may not be a statewide issue in every town, and you might want to turn a blind eye to it. But I know that it affects us, and especially our region's youth, and isn't that enough for a change? All it takes is one person with a hope, one person with a dream, one person to influence another to make a change. We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. We, as youth, are the next generation, and without your listening ears and working hands, we will not make it. Thank you.